Harpswell's Budget Advisory Committee meeting on December 1st, 2025. We've had our call to order. Members of the committee, and I didn't introduce you last time, so I'm going to do that now.
Dave Zamorowski.
And Linda Hall.
Oh, here comes Jane.
And Mackin Pulsifer.
And
here comes Jane.
And we have Jane Meisenbach making an entrance. All right, so do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
You do.
And second?
Second.
Okay. Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, and we're going to start item 3, reviewing certain budget items. We're going to start with account 1230, the cemeteries. And I believe we have some representatives from the cemeteries here. Who would like to? Cranberry Horn Hill is here, and Boers Island? Yes. Okay. Who wants to go first? Boers Island? Want to come? Oh. Or
Sandy.
okay. Would you come up to the microphone, introduce yourself? And I'm assuming you're from Boers Island.
I am. Skip Sylvester, Robert Sylvester, treasurer of the Boers Island Cemetery Association. And am I supposed to make a statement of some sort?
Well,
So
yeah.
I can. I mean,
Okay.
in the past, the town, I think years ago, once the town was made aware that there was a contribution for veterans and veterans support in the cemeteries, began supporting the veterans to that extent, and at $25 per grave. And it was just our feeling, and looking at the total budget line for the cemeteries is around 20,000 or so.
It
And
is.
there's 13 cemeteries in town, all told,
There are 5 that the town supports.
and eight private.
Oh, right.
And it's just our feeling that the town should take more of an interest in that aspect of the town, in the heritage, and not just for Boers Island. I mean, I'm here speaking for Boers Island because we asked for an increase in the budget. And the increase was based on damage that the turkeys did, and, I mean, we lost the whole upper yard. And it's going to be expensive to get it back. We're going to sign a contract with True Green. You know, our cost this year in grounds maintenance was $15,000, and we try to take good care of it.
How many acres does it cover?
It's over 4.
4 acres. Thank you.
So that's basically it. We're asking for a little help in that respect. We know we have a membership and we have contributions. We're probably better off than some of the other cemeteries in town, but it's our feeling, and I'm not speaking for the other cemeteries, but I think I could, that we feel at Boers Island Cemetery that the town should take more of an interest in the cemeteries, all of them.
Okay. And would this be an ongoing, I have the difference between what would cover the veterans' graves and what you're asking is a little over $3,000.
Correct.
Would that be an ongoing expense?
To the extent that we're going to be more active in fixing some of the old stones, and I haven't broken it out, we haven't broken it out as to of the 100, say, odd stones that need attention for either cracked foundations, cracked stones, leaning. Some of the work that we can do probably in-house, others we're going to have to contract with Colette to do. I will break that out as far as which are specifically veterans. If it's the town's position that the only support that they will offer is for veterans, monuments, and
We are required to support the veterans.
Right.
Yes.
And I'll speak just for myself, that our understanding is that the cemeteries wanted to be more in control of their own cemetery and not want this town jumping in and doing more, or
oh, we didn't necessarily want you jumping in and doing more, just giving us more
you
money.
just want more money. Okay.
Funding.
Yeah,
It-
would you, okay, so, please remind me, and I'll jump over to other people. What is the percent this extra 3,000 is of your total budget? You said 15,000 for mowing, and,
We, years ago, when Jim Jones was president, we stopped submitting a budget and actually submit to you our, our financial snapshots.
Right.
So because it's a lot more accurate, we think in showing you costs, because people develop budgets and look at them once, and that's about it. So the question, what is the,
more like, what is, what does this represent? What I'm getting at, I guess, is I would want personally to treat all 5 cemeteries the same,
okay,
or in proportion to what you are asking for. Some cemeteries are bigger, as the Oars Island maybe, and others are smaller, may not need as much money. But if we were to do this, I would want to offer it to the other 4 cemeteries that we support. So I was trying to get an idea of what this was as expenses go.
the groundskeeping, as far as
It's
expenses
15,000.
go, is by far the most, it's more than we make in dues and contributions total, if it wasn't for the one fundraising event that we've, the town used to be able to enjoy the street dances that we put on. And now we just have a little party in the summer that raises about $5,000, and again, as a percentage of our budget, this $6,000 would be
It's about
maybe a
40% of your 15,000.
yeah, of just
Right, of
grounds.
just that. Doesn't
Right.
include repairing stones and so forth.
Correct.
That you mentioned. Okay, I'll stop asking questions. Mac, did I see your hand?
Yeah, I'm sympathetic to this idea, but I'd like to just, if you could be a bit more specific and about what you really have in mind, as opposed to being, quote, more interested from the town's point of view.
Well, next summer,
And
we,
perhaps if I could just add, and a suggestion of how the town should evaluate it.
boy, I wasn't prepared for this.
Well, maybe it's not the time to answer it, but to give you that sort of encouragement.
I don't know if this is actually going to answer your question or not, but we've always taken great pride in the way the cemetery looked. And so have spent maybe next year, we're actually going to cut back on the frequency of our mowing,
Yeah.
for example. And then the stones, as other cemeteries would know, the stones with the blackening,
Yeah.
The D2 that we have been spraying is expensive, so what was your question?
Well, you are answering it now.
The remainder of the fence that we want to accomplish, there's another $5,000 to $6,000. We didn't get to it this fall. We're going to be stretching ourselves pretty thin and don't want to ultimately get into the same situation some of the other cemeteries. So we thought, what would be the harm in asking the town
There's
for
no
a little
harm.
bit more
Right.
support?
We're just trying to get a sense of it.
Yeah.
Did you get your question answered?
Yeah, it's a start of a conversation,
Okay.
I think, really.
And what we have proposed amongst the trustees in the past, and I know has been raised at the town level, was the town, whether it's the budget committee or others, sit down with all the cemeteries and get, feedback from all of them. We know Cranberry Horn was, in a bind financially, and with the budget, if you look at some of the line items in the town, I don't want to be defensive, but from the old townhouse, which has received a lot more monies than the cemeteries since 2010, and recreation, we just think the cemeteries are part of the town's heritage and should be actively supported. More so than having to support it because it's a mandate from the state.
I just would mention that the meeting house is owned by the town, and the cemetery behind that.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, and you're going to ask some questions, and then I have another one for you.
Okay. One, I think you guys have done a nice job in fundraising and trying to, meet some pretty high budget hurdles that you have in maintaining an old cemetery. But I want to follow up on, I think, where Mackin was going. Just to clarify, it's a private cemetery,
Yes.
and is that cemetery open to everyone in town?
No.
Who is it open to?
It's open to residents of Oars Island and folks with long-standing heritage ties to Oars Island. Having said that, years ago, I don't know if everybody here is familiar with a proposal that we made to the town for the developing a loan, basically, in developing the final portion of the cemetery, the valley section down below. And part of that proposal, our request for funding, which was pretty well put together, would have opened it up to the entire town.
When you assess burial fees,
Yes.
do you take into account the perpetual need to maintain those graves in
Yes.
good order?
50% of every burial fee, 50% of every burial lot or burial right sold goes to perpetual care.
Okay. And is that sufficient on a per gravesite basis to defease the costs that are going to be related to that in the future?
That is hard to say. It's pretty open. I think we've got approximately 120, it's in what I gave you,
124.
124,000 in a perpetual care fund.
Oh, wait a
And we
minute,
could-
I'm sorry, that's not it. I answered the wrong question.
It was
Yes.
close to
That's
that,
Big
though.
number,
It's a big number.
It's a big number,
Yeah,
but when
it's
you,
over 100,000.
yes.
but it's not
it is.
big enough.
Yes.
But, you only can withdraw the interest on that.
Yeah. Are there some, is the $25 per grave site for veterans sufficient in your mind to pay for that particular segment of the cemetery? And if not, is there something unique about our cemetery, age of the gravestones, geographic locations that would drive that cost higher or lower?
Well, that's kind of a tough one. I
Kind of,
Kind-
I'm sorry.
tough
Oh, tough. Okay.
question. I could turn around and ask a reciprocal question. At $25 per grave, 124 veterans in the cemetery, that's $3,050. Is that sufficient from the town's perspective for us to maintain the cemetery?
Well, that's
The
my
veterans-
question to you.
Well, the veterans are spread throughout the cemetery.
Yep.
It's hard to
Okay.
develop
that's
an
fine.
answer on
That's-
You have
that's-
for,
about
we're,
500 graves, I think,
Yep.
something like 500 graves right now.
800.
Oh, 800.
Yeah.
I don't
Sorry, excuse me.
I don't intend to belabor it, but is the $25 per veteran's grave site a state mandated number, a
No,
federal number?
No, this is one we came up with. It started out around 10 and then we raised it a little bit each year. It's
Okay.
been going on for, I'm going to guess, 8 or 10 years.
I was going to say around 10.
Yeah, and we just raised it, I believe, last year,
We did.
Yeah.
25.
Okay. It may be worthwhile in this environment we're living in to next year come around and revisit the sufficiency of that number.
And I-
So we have 886.
Okay. So it's
Buried.
it's 20% of your mowing cost, but not 20% of the graves that you have. I can't do 12 divided by 80
I know.
that fast,
That's correct.
but, okay. Okay.
15.
And but right now, thank you. 15, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There he's got his calculator,
Unless
cheating.
unless the chip is somewhat defective for the operator.
Did you have more questions?
No.
Jane, did you have a question?
No.
I had another question, which I've forgotten, but perpetual care you can't touch,
We can
except
draw,
for the interest.
correct.
And perpetual care, most of the cemeteries have that fund.
That's a requirement.
It's a requirement, which they can't use. It's if suddenly no one's taking care of it, is that when it can be used? We've talked about this before.
We have, and at least as part of the proposal for development of the valley section, if part of that proposal was obviously with the town's interest, if we had the same problem that so many other associations and organizations have as far as volunteers,
Sure.
which we do. I put it this way, if the association failed, it would be the town that would probably be forced to take it over. And if it did, the remainder of that perpetual care fund would go to the town.
Right, okay.
Do you collaborate across all the cemeteries when it
No,
comes to
and-
services like mowing,
Oh, no,
No.
landscaping,
they
things
have-
like that?
No.
You ever considered doing that?
I can jump in here with a
Yeah.
little, I'm associated, or most of my family is buried at the West Harpswell Cemetery. And they do pay, but they also have volunteers mowing. And the Bailey Island one cemetery, it's all done by volunteers. I don't think there's somebody from, is there someone from Bailey Island here? I see a gentleman in the back nodding. All volunteers taking care of it. So different cemeteries are doing different things.
Okay, I just wonder if there might be some
And-
opportunity in aggregating those services, but that's not a suggestion.
Oh, no, it's, anything that could be done to economize
Save some money.
would always be a good idea, but the Oars Island Cemetery in particular, I know is, it would be,
So, so if you, right now, I don't live on Oars Island, so I could not be buried there because I don't have any particular ties to Oars Island. You would not take anyone from the general Harpswell area
Veterans,
except veterans?
Correct.
Oh, so if I was a veteran, I could, okay. Until that other portion is developed, and is it also contingent on the town helping with that?
we don't have the wherewithal to do it
Okay,
ourselves.
period.
At all.
Okay. Okay. So right now, okay, so alternative question. Do you feel you can service the people on Oars Island with the present area you have right now?
Yes,
Okay.
especially with cremations being
Right.
more predominant.
Okay. And I have one, sorry, guys. Not this past year, and maybe not last year, this is a question for Christie. You did meet with the cemeteries. Was it in '23?
That sounds about right. We did write a report, which we will circulate to all the Budget Committee members. Some of these same issues came up, and I think that what really got that report going and meeting with all the departments or all the cemetery organizations was this request from Oars Island that the town contribute a pretty substantial amount to this new portion of the cemetery.
That's right.
So then there was this effort to kind of understand all of the cemetery organizations better. They all have, different levels of financial capacity. And we talked to them about how the town could be more supportive. Some of them said they have their own people who mow, and the people who mow for them give them cut rates and low rates. And some said, we'd really like the town to take over mowing. And we didn't take that over. We just said, here's more money to help you with mowing. So it hasn't always been the town contributing just on a per veterans basis.
That's right.
This committee and the town has taken into consideration special needs of the various cemetery organizations. And, some that didn't have the financial capacity or were working on sustainability issues, the town helped more to keep those organizations going. So that report does exist. Similar issues are being discussed today. And where we go next is, something we can all talk about.
Just for clarity, I guess, when the proposal for help in developing the final section, and it will be the final section available to us to develop, that wasn't a contribution, it was a loan, basically. It was for $150,000 over 3 years, and then it would have been paid back in burial fees and
Yeah, and I don't know
What-
how much we want to get into that right now, but I think there was also the stipulation that if the organization no longer existed, then the town would take it over. We talked about trends and how cremation was happening more, and there was less of a need for perhaps developing this new area. I think some of the location was considered wet, and that had some issues. So, we kind of covered it and decided that now was not the time to have the town take this on. And a lot of those details didn't get worked out about what would this agreement look like if we floated this loan, and that would have to go to town meeting. It never made it there.
Right.
There were too many questions, and the town was not prepared to take that on. Was not convinced that it should take that on or that it was needed at this time.
Okay.
That's a summary.
Okay, thank you for the summary.
Inaccurate.
Good memory. So thank you
You're
for answering our questions.
Yeah, thank you.
And
That's great.
allowing us to ask so many questions. So I know we asked a representative from Cranberry Horn Hill Cemetery to be here, and this lady is coming up to the mic. Thank you.
My name is Sandra Swallow, and I'm the treasurer of the Cranberry Horn Association.
Okay.
And I don't know, last year we just received it, $7,000 from the town, which is we're grateful for. Our mowing alone is $6,000 a year. And he does a very good job. He kind of does it on his own with his men, his crew and everything. And he's already, to do it for next year, set up for do it next year. For fundraising, like I said, we are just getting back into getting the organization back, association back on board, you might say. And we've got a lot to do. We're rewriting the bylaws and our fundraising, we're going to get back into that. We're planning on a spring mailing donation like they did a couple years ago. There hasn't been any real donations for a couple years, I think. And then there was an idea of an auction with a potluck at the community hall to get some money. Like the gentleman said, with the cleaning of the stones and everything, I'm a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution, and cemeteries are real important to us. So we had a cleaning workshop a couple years ago. So, and I understand that the D2 is expensive. We have a couple ladies in our organization that go to various cemeteries to cleaning and repairing stones and everything. But they're up in Benton. So to come down here and help us would be, I wouldn't say impossible. They did the cleaning ceremony, workshop for us. I wasn't aware that we could ask for veteran support.
You are getting veteran support right now.
Okay. I don't know anything about that.
Okay. We have you have 120 veterans
Okay.
there, and for that $3,000, we added to that $4,000 to help you with the mowing.
Okay, so that's all in the mowing.
It's all in
cost.
that 7,000 from
Okay.
last year.
That I wasn't aware of. So,
We're doing that with all the 5 cemeteries that
okay, so
are public.
the 3,000 is from the town?
It's part of the 7,000.
Okay.
The components of the 7,000.
Yeah, okay.
3 for veterans and then 4 for mowing. That was 2025's appropriation.
Okay. All right. Aside from that, we do have a general funds account and we have a perpetual care. And I can't really tell you if the last couple of years, the perpetual care was getting the money they were supposed to get.
Yeah.
Or it went into the general fund, like,
Right.
I don't know. Anybody has any questions?
Is the 6,000 that you pay for mowing, is that a fixed contract? Or does it depend on the number of times he mows?
Well, he breaks it up into the number of times. He sets a schedule, but then when the weather doesn't cooperate, like it didn't this spring,
He had to,
he
because
had
of all the
to
rain?
break it up,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And how about in the summer when we had a drought?
He kept it going. He did this last mowing was the
So
end
he
of
still
October.
mows even though we had a drought?
Yeah, well, if it looks like it
If
needs
it
to
looks like
be.
it needs it,
Yep.
okay. Yeah. Okay. And I meant to ask the last gentleman the same questions. Still mowing even though there was a drought? No.
Well, he may do like a half mowing, sorry. Yeah.
And that's typical of any year. There's generally come August timeframe, there's,
A slowdown?
yes.
Oh.
And this year it slowed down a little earlier.
Right.
You
Okay.
pay less when that's the case, or how is your contract structured?
We pay the same per mowing.
Okay,
So he-
per mowing.
So he's just doing more in the spring and the June-ish timeframe.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Did you have a question?
Yeah, Sandy, our discussion last year was recognizing you're just getting back on your feet.
Right.
And if you could give us just a very short summary of progress there in terms of forming a board and, you know, you've talked about getting a fundraising effort going, which was a great concern to us.
Yeah.
Things of that sort, or perhaps long-range plans to, you know, clean up the old gravestones and the other issues and that come before any organization. Sort of where are you and what has happened?
Well, we need some more board members. We need a board of directors. I don't think we have a problem with the board of directors because they, what we've had as a problem is that people didn't want to take on the responsibility of the positions.
Yeah.
They still help with the cemetery, you know, but they just didn't want to be bound to the positions. So that's where we are. Kim Pila is our president, and I'm the treasurer. Secretary, whatever. We have
So it's
impromptu
mostly the
meetings.
two of you?
Yeah, they're doing that right now. We do have a good size of volunteers. We just had our cleanup day. And they cleaned off a new section, cutting trees down and everything, but that has to be stumped in the spring, and it needs to be filled in. And then with the cleaning, and we had one of the, and I can't remember right now, if it's, was it Page Monuments that do the stones? They were willing to come down and help if they can with putting up the stones that have fallen or ones that are sinking and stuff like that. So we do have, you know, some information that way, but that's, you know, when that's going to be done. I had pictures taken. I was going to show these ladies that are in our chapter that do this, you know, with, they come down, we have a meeting here in the harbor once a year, so they can maybe get some help.
And the last part, are in your judgment, are the books and records all in good shape? And
Yes, I've got all the whatever statements and everything from years back.
good,
George is trying right now with all the deeds, when a plot or a burial is sold, that they get a deed, and he's trying to match the deeds with the names to the stones that are in the cemetery now,
good.
to see, you know, what's there, what can be sold. That's why we're clearing more land, because, you know, we're getting close on paper, as we say. But some of those need to be straightened out. Stones aren't in the right place, you know. They could be sitting on somebody else's plot, not supposed to be there. So,
Right.
just that it was the way it was divided up in the many caretakers over the years.
Great. It sounds like progress.
I think we are. I think, you know, I'm pleased with what's been done.
And
Great.
but fundraising is still a work in progress, it sounds like.
Yes. Yeah.
Terry?
Sandy, excuse me if you've answered this while I was out of the room, sorry about that. The application didn't come with all the questions answered about current finances, and so there's a 0 in the question that says, what is your fund balance at the end of your most recent fiscal year? I'm assuming that that's probably just an oversight. I'm assuming you have some funds.
Yes. I went and checked the statements at the bank today. And I can tell you, I moved the $7,000, I put everything in the general fund, but I think that should be in the perpetual care, so I moved it to the perpetual care. So we have $29,473.21 in the general fund, and now we have, the perpetual care is $11,497.19.
11,000, you said?
Yeah. I just moved the 7,000 from the general to the perpetual.
Okay, so 29,000 in your general fund.
Yep.
Would that help with the mowing? Which is your biggest
No.
expense, I
If
assume?
it went over that, we would
Pardon?
be, if his mowing happened to go over that for some reason, we would be taking from the general fund.
So you're not touching the general fund unless you have to? Is that sort of what
We
you're-
use that for regular things that need to be, like if we furnished some food for the cleanup people and stuff like that.
Okay,
But perpetual, what, I put that $7,000 there for the mowing.
the 7,000 at the town,
Yep,
okay.
so that's in the perpetual care.
Okay. So how much
That's part of it.
for the, I'm sorry, and maybe it was here, how much are you taking out of the general fund for things like feeding the volunteers and?
Well, for the fall one, we took $40 out. I mean, it wasn't a lot,
It wasn't,
No.
you're right.
but.
That's
yeah.
amazing. You're going to feed them for $40, right? Okay,
I didn't have a lot.
okay. All right, any more questions?
I think at the beginning of this conversation, I think maybe you, Linda, said that we were trying to move to a more uniform treatment across all of these cemeteries that are in question here. Just as a note for the minutes, we're a very, very long ways away from doing something like that, meaning a.
No, I didn't say that. I
Okay.
asked the gentleman if we were to do something, if the town was to take more of a direct role in helping the cemeteries, which he requested, then I would want to offer that same service or amount of money proportionally to the other four cemeteries.
Okay. You know, it just looking at the numbers of the,
Well, they get the same for the veterans.
Right,
That's all
but-
we get. They have the same operating fund that we have. And this is not.
You should come to the microphone.
You should come to the mic.
I can hear you fine, but this is being recorded, so the video is not picking you up unless you're at the microphone. So you're saying something that is relevant here.
Am I finished?
Okay. If you'd like to be, Sandy, thank you.
I don't want to be confrontational at all, but we did mention at the beginning, I think it was Mr. Pulsifer, about equity among the cemeteries. If Cranberry Horn, for example, who I know has had, they had issues with
You're
volunteers
right.
and boards, et cetera, et cetera.
Right,
But
right.
what I was commenting for my chair was, they receive the same $25 per veteran's grave that we do, plus
Plus something.
assistance.
Right.
4,000, I think it was,
Right.
in mowing,
Right.
have almost an identical operating fund, so there is a lack of equity.
No, well, right, and what my intention was, if the town was going to move to being more responsible for the cemeteries, I'd want to be more responsible to all.
Fair enough.
Right.
but just noted, there is a, I don't know if it's a philosophical inconsistency with which we treat the different cemeteries. It doesn't, I'm not troubled with it because we have a starting place here, but it seems that ultimately we need to be comfortable that everyone is being treated equitably and to move to that place. And I don't
Right.
think we're there yet.
We're not
Nor would
there
I
yet,
expect
yeah.
us to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
It's a good challenge,
Yeah.
right.
very much.
Okay, Jane, did you have anything on this? Oh, did I see that someone from Bailey Island was here to speak to us? No, okay.
No, the only two
Okay.
cemeteries that the committee wanted to
Right.
invite were those that
There was
were.
a gentleman in the back who said he was from Bailey Island, so.
Sorry.
It might have been while you were out of the room.
Yes. So I don't, since you have a, I'm sorry.
Sorry, it's just the Bailey Island Cemetery is owned by the 501c3 Willing Helpers. So
Yeah.
It's
not
complete.
an issue for the town.
Different organization, right? Okay, thank you.
But since you do have a room full of people, instead of, you've heard from the people here today, so would you like to hear from the rest of the people, skip to 6,000 before you do your full cemetery review? Would you like to hear from everybody?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
yes.
So
And-
may I suggest that maybe, I think all that's left is libraries and the Harpswell Historical Society.
Right.
But please, if you're from any place other than a library or Harpswell Historical Society, I don't believe so. So perhaps Chuck Alexander would be
Okay.
next?
Yes, we're going to move to 6,000.
Great.
Cultural, and Harpswell Historical Society will be first.
And the committee had wanted to hear from Mr. Alexander as the new president, and also due to the increase in that request as well.
Hey, Chuck Alexander, the new president.
Okay.
So this is all new to me. I've never gone through this process, but I hope I've got some information that'll be of interest to you, and I can, again, I don't know if I give you my sales pitch first, if you ask questions, or how this plays out.
Well, in the past, and it's been pretty steady, the town has appropriated 6,000 for the Historical Society. Your request this year is 10,000?
Correct.
Do you want to explain and just go over that for the committee and the audience?
Sure. I guess quickly, there's a lot more going on. And the biggest thing is improvements to the museum. That's our biggest budget item this year, moving forward. But also, I would say just the general operating budget's going to increase because of, I'll call it subscriptions and things that kind of are going to make the archives more accessible to the public. That's going to be eventually, this is a long time, but eventually all of our items are going to be available to research online with pictures, descriptions, and all that. And that's going to happen through a cataloging software program. And then obviously we need the computer to upload that stuff and keep it updated and things like that. And those are actually pretty minuscule items. Not minuscule, don't get me wrong, but they all add up to the big
Right,
picture,
right.
which add to what we've needed in the past. And I mentioned the improvements to the building as well, and that's not going to be a yearly item, but it is something that's long overdue. The outside of the museum was fixed through the donations. The inside needs a lot of work, which we're hoping to at least get started on this winter. And then we have 5 buildings in the town.
You should explain that, because not everybody would be aware of the 5
Pardon
buildings.
me?
Explain your 5
Yep,
buildings.
I will. So we have 5 buildings and the monument that we're in charge of taking care of. We have the museum, which is basically the hub of the Historical Society. We have Centennial Hall across the road, which is in need of some work, not a ton. And the Garden Club and the Theater Group use that. Those are 2 groups from the town that utilize that building. We have the schoolhouse behind that, which has been used for educational purposes, although not a lot lately. We have a church building in Cundy's Harbor that allegedly is going to need a new roof soon, which is not included in this budget, but I haven't been able to get on the roof and look it over to confirm that or not, but that's potentially down the road as well. And I'm bringing this up because there's just a lot of deferred maintenance that's going to be coming forward. And then the statue by Land's End, we're in charge of taking care of, but that's in pretty good shape. So one big point I wanted to mention is that we house in our vault the town records from basically the earliest to 1973, and then even a little bit beyond that has been added. And that takes up about a quarter of the space in our vault, which is pretty full. And we're happy to do it, but I kind of researched what that might cost if you went somewhere and had to rent that space. And it's usually charged per cubic foot. And the space is about 9 by 8. That is reserved for the town records. And so that came out to anywhere from 50 cents to $1.50 per month per cubic foot, which came roughly to around $5,000 a year. is what if you had to hire that out, it would cost. We've done that for 20 to 25 years. However, during that time, you've also given us money, so, it's not like we've done it for free, quote unquote. But it is an expense. It's a very quantifiable thing that we do. So there's that side of things. And then, obviously I've been thinking a lot about my argument that I'd make for the increase. Something that's not as quantifiable is what value do we provide to the town by seeking out our history, preserving it and displaying it and making it available to the townspeople. I think that's something that's difficult to put a number on, but has immense value. I've said history's a personal thing. It means more to one person sometimes than another, but I think in the big picture in Harpswell, I think history is pretty darn important, and I think we provide a really big service by doing this. Just a few other points. We asked for the $10,000, and I want to point out that our board themselves, the board, has contributed $10,000 of their own money towards the Historical Society. So we're invested. We're also we've got other fundraising methods that we're reaching out to do. So we're trying on our end, and this is just a small piece of what we hope to do. Our budget is $82,000 for the coming year. The bulk of that is improvements to the building. And that's probably not going to be a number that goes forward every year, but as I mentioned, there is other buildings, and our general operating budget is going to increase from what it has been in the past as well. So we're also a benefit to the town that we're going to be working on, and I've chatted with Christy just initially about this, is the 250th celebration. We're going to be doing something, how much we collaborate with the town is yet to be determined, but we're happy and want to collaborate with the town and help make that happen. So that's another service we've been providing that this money would help make happen.
And do you continue to be sort of the caretaker of the meeting house?
Yes,
Is that
yeah,
right?
we do.
Yeah.
The town obviously funds that, but
Right.
we open the building up for tours, and one of our members, David Hackett, who's usually standing here giving the pitch, if he's driving by and he sees somebody, he'll open the building up for him, and he's got some great stories from that happening. So, yeah,
Okay.
we make that accessible for people.
Mackin?
Chuck, turning to town records, the ancient town records, are they being stored in what I'll use the term state-of-the-art to protect against fire, water, moisture, which I think everybody should expect they be?
I can't say that it's state-of-the-art because I don't know enough about
don't know.
vaults, but I will tell you it's a climate-controlled vault, and it's been labeled an alternate repository by the Maine State Archives. So whatever standards they require, we have met to
Okay.
achieve that status.
Fine.
And I think that's a point worth making as well, that they're not just being tucked in the corner in the
No,
basement.
it's a vault. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Yep.
Is the church in Cundy's Harbor, is that a historical building, meaning like the meeting house?
I don't think it has national historic status. I don't believe so, no.
And this is the church next to the cemetery? Is that-
No.
Or is
It's-
it the one on Bethel Point?
Nope, neither. It's
Neither.
a little bit down the road from Cranberry Horn.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Yeah,
donated by the Sebastian Garden Club.
right. That's the one I meant by Cranberry Horn,
Oh, yeah.
just beyond.
All right.
Yeah.
It's a New England buy, just down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Across from.
No, the other side.
The other side.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Questions for Chuck?
And I'm not trying to be sarcastic when I say this. As I thought about my arguments and things and what we provide to
And I
the town, my
apologize,
question.
I don't think we want you to feel like you have to justify everything. We're just
Okay.
interested in knowing.
Well, that's what I was
about
ready
it.
to do.
No, we just, for us and for the public who may be viewing this meeting.
All right.
Would be interested in knowing what
Yeah, where their money's
the
going.
funds are for, yeah.
Okay.
Great.
And also, I'm also the president of the Hillcrest Cemetery. And I know I don't have to speak on this, but I look at your help with the cemetery as you're spending a quarter to save a dollar, because if you help keep these organizations solvent and they stay on their own feet, the day won't come when the town has to inherit this cemetery and take on all the expenses, because I believe that's what happens if a cemetery ends up abandoned. I think the town is responsible for maintaining it after that. And I may be wrong with that.
Well, I do think the statute generally says that, but a couple of the organizations in Harpswell have plans for what happens to them if they no longer exist. I think Hillcrest is one of them. I think there's a reversion to
I'm not
some other
aware of that, but
entity.
doesn't mean there isn't.
And I think Willing Helpers, I think, is an ongoing,
Yes.
has its own sustainability.
They have their
So,
own plan.
yes, I hear your point, but it may not apply to all three.
All right.
Or all five, I should say.
And I'll
Thank
be
you.
real quick with that, too. Your help keeps us in the black with the Hillcrest Cemetery. It pretty much keeps us at break even. So it's a huge help to us. So thank you for that, and
Thank
thank you
you.
for the
Thank-
behalf of that.
I don't think, we didn't get something from Hillcrest this year,
Well, they
did
didn't
we?
ask for
You did. We
more, I
didn't
don't
ask for an
think.
increase,
So
though.
you only wanted to hear from entities that asked for more.
I don't remember
I
seeing
believe.
it in our book either, but
It-
maybe
it's
I'm
in
wrong.
there.
It's
It's
there?
in there.
Okay,
It's
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chuck.
But they still got the
And
benefit.
isn't the request just 100% of the veterans reimbursement?
Yes.
I believe that is what
Yes.
Hillcrest has
Right.
requested.
That's what it,
I don't think
Yeah.
it requires
Yeah, right.
discussion.
Yeah.
Chuck, as you look forward, I mean, you've taken the reins of the Historical Society, so you're the first new set of reins managers for a very long time. As you go forward, what's your, can you give us just a quick view of your vision and how you view public versus private financing in the execution of that vision?
So, how long-term you want? Short-term is pretty overwhelming right now. Just the disrepair, and then also there's a whole lot of new people, and just bringing those people together and learning how to work together. That, honestly, right now in the short term is my biggest goal, to get us working and knowing each other. But fixing the inside, and I would say the single biggest thing we're doing right now is cataloging our collection.
Yeah.
And that's being done by a couple of tireless volunteers. It's just an incredible amount of work. So that is probably going to be at least a couple-year project. So I would say that right now, short-term, is one of the biggest things. And then really long-term is getting the rest of the buildings up to snuff. And then even beyond that is perhaps some sort of living history or learning center, a space where we can have host talks and educational things. But that's like way down the road. Right now, we just got to get my immediate goal is to get what we have up to snuff and rolling as well as it can on its own.
Would that include consideration of financial management, donations and everything else? Are you
So, yeah, that our financial plan, yeah, I would say we have not had a lot of discussion about that, just because it's not necessarily, there's been a lot of other things taking priority. But I would say that our financial plan moving forward is going to be grant money is probably where we're going to be our biggest bang for our buck, although competition for that's getting a little tighter as that money dries up right now. Individual donations, and then, of course, the town supporting us.
And you're confident in the underlying financial management as it exists today?
I think so. I think what we have in our accounts and what I project we're going to need just to keep the doors open compared to what we hopefully are going to take in, I think we can, yes. But again, I've just started 4 months ago, so I really don't know. I don't have a lot of history in knowing how much money we truly can count on coming in each year. There's a lot of enthusiasm right now. We're getting some good donations, but, a year from now people are going to be kind of like on to the next project. So, and this is, I'd be a little crass, but I call it professional begging isn't my strong suit. So I really don't know. I've never done it, and I really don't know what to expect, so.
And
I'd say you're doing great.
didn't we just get a huge
Absolutely.
flyer from them in the mail? I got something in the
we
mail.
did.
Yeah.
A week ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, and some people may not everybody may have got it.
Oh.
December 2nd, it was supposed to go out from the 27th to December 2nd, so it's still maybe a few people
Oh,
getting that.
okay.
So, yep.
That was quite impressive.
Oh, good, thank you. That was, volunteer did 95%
I didn't bring my
of
checkbook
that.
today, though.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Chuck. Okay, so we also have representatives from the two libraries here in Harpswell and from Curtis Memorial Library. Should we start with Orr's Island Library? Oh, there's Dan, okay.
Good afternoon, Dan Hobeck. I'm the president of the Orr's Island Library. Along with me is Hugh Hardcastle, who's already identified himself as being from Bailey Island. He's our treasurer.
But you're allowing him to come
Yeah,
to Orr's, okay.
yeah, we, every now and then.
Sorry.
Yeah, and Ann Wilkes, who is our librarian. If you haven't seen her before, she's the person that you see the moment you walk in the
Yep.
door.
Yeah.
First thing I want to do is to thank the town for its annual support of the library. You know, that is something that we really can't do enough, is to thank the town for the way it supports us in any number of ways, and financially is huge. This has been a great year for us, our 125th anniversary. We have had astounding numbers, both in terms of growth in number of patrons, number of visits. And so what I really wanted to do is to just give you a quick idea of what it means to be the library in Harpswell. We consider our clientele or our patrons to be residents and visitors, because as visitors, once they come into Harpswell, they kind of want to stay there, and they want to use any excuse they can to stay here rather than to go back into town. And so one of the things that we provide at the library are things that they would otherwise have to go into town for, such as free public computers, printers, the 24-hour Wi-Fi, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And the most recent addition is notary public services. So those are the kinds of things that we do to really make this a place that allows people to remain in Harpswell, and then while they're here, supporting all of our other businesses, enjoying everything else that we have to offer. I gave you some hard numbers because you deserve hard numbers. And I really wanted to talk for a moment about the difference between card holders and active users. Card holders as a number is not a particularly meaningful one for me. I'm still a card holder at the San Jose, California Public Library, because purging is not something that is done very often.
Right.
But what I can tell you is that during the last 12 months, we've had 411 or 410 active users, and we're defining active users as narrowly as possible, which is someone who had to use a card for one of our services, which means basically checking out books, or in the case of children, checking out one of the adventure packs that they have for a couple of weeks. The other thing that we can document, and this kind of has to do with the nature of Harpswell, that Wi-Fi service is not, a cell service isn't a good thing. And the 24/7 Wi-Fi that we have in front of the library, whether the library is open or not, you're going to find somebody sitting there a lot of the time. And we're actually able to track that, not only by number of times that the Wi-Fi is accessed, but by individual identification of the cell phones. And so what we were able to find during the last 12 months, we had 2,900 people who accessed our Wi-Fi. It's a fabulous number. And breaking that down and kind of taking into account the fact that some people are there all the time, the person who delivers our mail every day after he delivers the mail, he stops. is that we figured that there were 798 unique users of our Wi-Fi during the last year. To be sure, some of those may double up with people who are actual card holders. But we see a tremendous spike during the summer of people who are visitors and additional traffic of businesses and things where people are stopping to, because that's the one place on the island where people can actually get a
Can I
signal.
interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
I'm really surprised because I would think that the summer homes would supply their own Wi-Fi. And I know where I am.
Yeah.
My family has 8 places on Harpswell Neck,
Yeah,
and only 2 of them are year-round. All of them have Wi-Fi. I'm just surprised.
well,
Yeah.
but when you consider, and I think one of the things that kind of makes sense is when you take a look at the number of people who actually walk in the door year over year. And we've had 3,000 people who did that this year, which is about a 25%
Right, I just.
increase.
Yeah.
But the number of people who are just driving by,
And you do you have a Wi-Fi sign out there or something?
we do.
I'm
on our-
sorry.
We do on our board, it says free Wi-Fi.
Okay, there you go.
And that's why,
That's why.
So, you get a lot of delivery people. But basically, anybody who comes
Right.
to Harpswell knows that there's a good place where they can get a Wi-Fi signal.
Okay.
So I was surprised at the number too.
Yeah.
I thought that it was pretty high, but.
I just seem that, vacationers and the people here, even just tourists, well, somebody who's just going down to Land's End and coming back might want the Wi-Fi connection.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But if they're
we
staying
have,
there.
we have people who are on the street who are doing that, but that number also includes people who come into the library, who are not card holders, who want to just sit there and open up their own computer or check their own voicemail and stuff. So it isn't just the people who are sitting on the street,
Yeah.
but it's other people who are inside as
Yeah.
well.
I was surprised by that number.
I was
Yeah,
too.
okay. Thank you, Dan. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, I'm pleased to talk about that. One of the interesting things, and because our focus is so Harpswell-oriented, and one of the things that we've been actively doing is to see how many ways can we actively help Harpswell. And the most recent thing is we do a lot of collaboration with Harpswell Aging at Home. During the summer, the free sharing table every Wednesday, we set that up in front of the library, and that's from May until September. And people just stop by all day and take free vegetables and drop stuff off of their own garden. We work with the fire department. Santa is coming a week from Saturday and is coming on the fire engine. And that's a wonderful, nice collaboration with them. The other thing, and this kind of gets into a more long-range financial thing. I'm going to kind of go out of order of what I was going to talk about. But we have got 15 nonprofit organizations in Harpswell who are working together, and this is a collaboration that was started with the Harpswell Anchor and the library to put together a unified plan giving program so that when people pass away, they have an easier way of finding out what that kind of giving opportunity is and what nonprofits in Harpswell are able to benefit by it. My background is in plan giving. That's all I did for the last 15 years of my legal career. And what I found is that when people decide to leave a charity in their will, they will not leave it typically to one organization, but they'll leave it to anywhere between 3 and 5. And so if somebody's going to leave something to the library, they might also leave something to the Anchor. They might leave something to the fire department. They might leave something to HA. So for all of us working together in terms of looking for future stability, that's where the big money really is. The bad news is that it takes a while for that to happen. Typically, we figure that from the launch of a plan giving program, it takes about 5 years to see the return on it. What the library already has is we've received about $180,000 in those kind of gifts that has become part of our endowment, and money from that endowment is then used for our annual support as well. So when we think in terms of where is the money going to come from eventually to support nonprofits in Harpswell, that is going to be a major place. And that's a good thing too, because a lot of our older donors are starting to pass away. And, if we have a donor who gave us $2,000 this year and passed away, what other donor am I going to talk to and say, oh, by the way, we need somebody to replace the $2,000, why don't you up your $100 gift?
Yep.
It doesn't happen that way.
Right.
So I wanted to give you an idea of what the broader idea is for how we are going to be doing some fundraising. The other thing we're doing for fundraising right now is maybe you have seen the Harpswell calendar. Everything we do is a way of promoting Harpswell. This year, it's lobstering in Harpswell, and it has just photos of the lobstering community. Next year's, the 2027 calendar is almost done, and that is going to be called Harpswell, the Working Waterfront Community. So people who visit, come in and buy a calendar, it supports the library, it also supports Harpswell. So that's basically what we're doing. The other thing I want to talk about, just for a second, is where our general fundraising money, aside from the town, comes from. And I took a look at the e-blast that just went out a couple of weeks ago as part of our annual fundraising to see where is the money coming from. The number of gifts, separate gifts, 76% of them came from non-Harpswell residents. 78% of the dollar amount came from non-Harpswell residents. So that's one of the reasons why when we promote Harpswell, it is getting money from outside the community and bringing it in not only during the summer while they're here visiting, but also as a way to support Harpswell going forward. So that's one of the reasons why we're very strong on supporting visitors to Harpswell. We are asking for $5,000 additional this year. We did not ask for an increase last year, which is why you didn't.
In a few years, hasn't it?
Yeah. Because we try to be as conservative as we can. If we don't want to impose any more than we really need to. The reason why we do it right now is because our numbers have gone nuts. The 25% year over year in checkouts of books from the library, the increase in total visits has increased. Because of that, the amount of time that our librarian spends in the library, we've got to have more hours for her. We only have one staff person. The rest of it is all done by volunteers. And it's largely because of that and the increase in utility costs that has caused us to ask for the increase this year.
Where are you with digitizing, or I'm not even sure how to ask this. Are all your books online?
Yes.
And are you part of Minerva?
No, we are not part of Minerva.
Are you planning to be part of
No,
Minerva?
we're not. First of all, the size of the library really doesn't justify it for us. One of the reasons a lot of libraries are part of Minerva is you need to do that to become part of the interlibrary loan system.
Okay,
And we have really no intention of becoming part of that,
okay.
mostly because we have 10,000 books ourselves. And the other thing is that we really take pride in the way our books look and the fact that they're available and they're in good shape. And the moment they start moving around, you really kind of lose that kind of control. But yes, everything is online. It's all, you can look it up easily, but no, the Minerva system was just too expensive for what we were going to get out of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
if I wanted to know if you had a certain book, I could go to your website and look it up to see?
Yeah, either that or waltz into the library. No, I'm
I
serious.
do a lot of things online.
No, but I'm serious about this. I spent last Saturday in the library for a half an hour just watching people come in and out. And a couple of people said to Ann, "Do you have this book?" And she said, yeah, let me go get it for you. And that's part of the personal touch as well.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Questions for Dan?
None for me.
No? Okay. All right, thank you. Candice Harper's here also.
I came with charts and graphs if you want.
Oh, no, please. I think we're mostly interested in what, you've asked for additional money,
Yeah.
as you have in the past, and we know you've been doing a lot of work at the library. What this additional money would be going for, and what big things are happening at Cundy's
I'll
Harbor.
let Heather do most of the talking because I am not feeling well, but
Oh,
I can
sorry.
speak to the increase. So the increase really is directly tied to what we want to do in our salaries for our staff. We have a salary survey from the Maine State Library from 2023 that shows that our staff positions, and I don't want to quote individual rates of pay here, but we're paying what we're paying our current staff is anywhere from $2 to $5 per hour lower than the low end of the ranges that the Maine State Library has published for those positions. And that's something we really want to address this year.
Do you have trouble filling those positions?
Fortunately, no. Although I don't know what we'd do if we ever had to rehire. I think we'd have an issue. But we're blessed with a director that's been there a number of years and a librarian that's been there a number of years. We've got some great loyalty, and they do wonderful work for the library.
How many employees do you have?
Two.
Two. And I
And
should
we
have
work
had,
a
I should
total
have had you introduce yourself also.
Yes. I'm Ruth Rose. I'm the treasurer of the Cundy's Harbor Library.
Thank you.
And I'm Heather Logan, and I'm the director.
So,
And we have 32 combined hours
Yeah.
with the two of us. so-
Two, okay.
so speaking to the increase, that is
That's
directly
really what
it's-
it's
yes.
going toward.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any big improvements you want to tell us about?
Of course.
I know you.
Heather can speak to all that we've been up to.
Of course, I'm always so proud of all of our improvements.
Yeah.
So, Harpswell invests in libraries. I know that. There are 3 libraries that we invest in, Curtis, Orr's, and Cundy's. And I did a survey of patrons. I sent out a survey to 200 people, and I found on average, Harpswellians have 3 library cards. Deeper dive showed one's used for digital, which is probably like, they'll either do it through Curtis, because they get Libby and Canopy, and then, or they may have one from an out-of-state for streaming. Another one is for on-site book selection, so that often is us or Orr's, and for programs. And then one group had 3 different cards so they could access boring wherever they go. So I started thinking about what does Cundy's Harbor Library offer to Harpswell? Should we try to compete and be the same? Or should we recognize we fit within Harpswell and also as a member of the main library system? We are not a destination library. I can't go to Hanford's and then walk to Curtis. I wish I could. But you come to our library, you're coming because you're coming. You're not going shopping, you're coming to our library. So some of the things that we have done is we are very active in interlibrary loan. We have a very modest book budget. It's less than $2,500. But we have patrons who want lots of books, but also we have patrons who can't drive or have limited mobility. So we do 2 things. One, you can go on our website, which is out of Library World, cundysHarbor.me, and you can go on there and you can see every book we have. But also, what I do is I go on to what's called the Maine Library Service. So you can be a Maine State Library with limited services or full services. And we are able to access Minerva. Thank you, Curtis. Also through Portland, we're able to do that. And what we do is we go out, and if you need a book, you can request it from us. But the other thing we did was we started interlibrary loan with it's called a direct service. So what happens is every day I check my email, and on main library listserv, it says we need these books. It can be from Machias, it can be from Zadok Long, get a lot from Zadok Long. So we are able to then pull books for patrons.
Is that the same as using Minerva?
It's the exact same cataloging, it's the main catalog, but we don't pay for the catalog because we don't have enough books. But what we are doing is we have been approved to join the main interlibrary service, which uses a smaller online sharing service, which is called Mills.
So it's a subset of Minerva?
Yeah, it uses the same thing, but it's a smaller base.
Okay. Okay.
So the other things that we've done is we cleaned up our back lot, and then the other thing I want you to know is we use the InfoNet from Maine State Library. By doing that, we got 97% off on our van service, and then we were able to do our interlibrary loan, and we get the Wi-Fi through there. And the other thing is, on the, you're ready, Matt? So I talked to Matt, and I said to Matt, you guys all work really hard. You don't come to the library. What can I do for you? And he said, well, if I could see my boat out in the harbor. So we put up live cameras, and we get.
I can't see mine, though.
Are you serious?
I'm at the head of the harbor. I'm the furthest one from you.
I can see when you come in.
Yeah, but I know what
I
it
can,
is
I can
then.
see when your dad comes in to offload. So we get 50 hits a week of people accessing that camera, those cameras going up and down the New Meadows, so they can see boats. It gives you the time, the temperature, the direction of the wind.
Okay.
So we get 200 hits off of using our Wi-Fi, the live camera of the New Meadows. So that was a way we could help the working waterfront. So that's one of the things we've done. We cleaned up our backyard so you can see it. What are some other things we've done? Increased our library collection. We generate money through Thrifty Books. We sell books back to Thrifty Books, and with book donations, and then we're able to get them in the hands of readers, and then we're also able then to buy new books. And I think you were the one that told me about that. So we just do whatever we can, but I think the important thing is we do a lot outside the library, and I think people were asking us, well, what do you know? And one of the things is every year the total number of cards goes up. From 2021, it was 413, and now it's 1,247. And then we did with active cards. We're talking about people who have taken out cards this year. I mean, taken out books,
Right, right.
okay? And it has gone from 2021, 32 people to, and we haven't got the one, this next month.
Right.
And now it's 71. So for us, what that has shown is that we got more and more people coming up. We're a tiny little library, but we are serving people right and left. And we're growing.
So 71 people use their cards to take out a book? Is that what you're saying?
We don't do like he said, we don't purge our cards every year.
Right, I understand you have a lot of
So
cards.
we said 71, if they've taken out 5 or more books, then we consider them active.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, 5 or more. Because if somebody comes in and takes a book out once a year, that's not what I call active, but
Well, it's
anyway.
being used.
Yeah, Oh, well. Well, I got a more stringent definition,
I thought I
guess.
had seen a different number, and I'm flipping through my pages, so like closer to 400 or something. What was that number?
That's probably the number of
Card holders.
total card
Total
holders,
holders.
whether they use the card or not.
Okay.
But that's, the problem is we don't purge.
Okay.
So, the number of cards, and that's, I mean, some of those people, we've been purging the ones who are no longer with us this year, too. So. Any other questions about what we're doing or why we need?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Keep up the good work. Miss Doucette, thank you for patiently waiting. Are you okay back there?
Hi, I'm Liz Doucette. I'm the library director at Curtis Library in Brunswick. I'm going to give these numbers to Christy, and she can hand them out to you. I did do a projection for 2025 for our card holders. We have it through the end of November, but not December, so I just projected it out for one more month. These are active card holders from each of the dates that are on there.
And your definition of active?
It's the state library, it's Minerva's definition, so they've used their library card within the past year. I don't know how many books they've taken out or
Yeah.
how often, but they've used a card in the past year.
Okay.
As I recall, there was something, the last time you came, which was a few years back.
Years ago, yeah.
Yeah. You were telling us that it was difficult to gather that kind of information, to say, you know, an active card holder averages 5 books, 10 books.
Yeah, we
20.
can't do that actually, because through Minerva, as soon as you're borrowing, your books come back, it's taken off the record for privacy. So we have no way of knowing, once you bring your books back, whether you had out 20 books or 100 books. And we don't go through and look at how many times you take out books, you personally. What we do is go through and we count on a specific date how many people with a Harpswell address have library cards that have used it in the past year. So the number obviously goes up as you go back in time, and that's because obviously somebody might have used a card last year, but they didn't use it this year. Generally, or vice versa. What I usually try and do is use 3-year numbers because it seems like a reasonable average, but you've got them all right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that question, but you just answered it.
Well, I figured. So we have been in the process, I've been here now for 19 years in my job. And I think pretty much that whole time we've had a memo of understanding with the town of Harpswell. We used to do it on a yearly basis, I think, and then we decided it made more sense to go to a 3-year process. So the last one will end. Is that? Oh, no, that's okay. I just want to make sure it wasn't my phone doing that. So we put in with our budget request a recommendation for a new 3-year memo of understanding for that would cover 26, 27, and 28. So that's what our recommendation covered. We basically, for the past 3 years, we've not asked for an increase.
Right.
So the total, I believe, was 159 something, 159,089. And what I asked for, I went through a lot of different budget scenarios trying to figure out what made sense. Because at this point in time, Harpswell, if you look at the municipal populations, Harpswell accounts for about 18% of the population that we serve, but the contribution to operations is about 7%. So Brunswick is obviously carrying the majority of what the operational expenses are for the library. So I was trying to think about what services does Harpswell use substantially. And one of the services that has been getting more and more popular is the bookmobile. And honestly, we used the bookmobile. We got it because we knew it would be a great service for Harpswell. Harpswell paid nothing for it. We funded it all through grants and fundraising. The one piece of it that both Brunswick and Harpswell help pay for is for the librarian who runs the bookmobile. So I don't know if you've met Jamie Decision, but she's amazing. So I looked at, in 2026, splitting the amount of the estimated, basically the estimated cumulative rate of inflation, which is 6.67%, and dividing that in half. And I thought, okay, the library will cover half of that, and we'll ask Harpswell to cover half of that. That feels fair. So that would put us at 164,400 for 2026. And then the 2 years after that, I thought about, instead of doing another sort of just tied to inflation or COLA, which we've also done that, we've tied it to COLA. What about asking Harpswell to contribute to the book collection in the bookmobile, which seems very direct and appropriate. So we asked for the 164,400 plus 5,000, so 169,400 for the next 2 years, with 5,000 that each year going specifically to the book collection. Or, I say books, but books and other materials that are carried in the bookmobile.
Does the bookmobile only come to Harpswell?
No, but majority of it is to Harpswell.
Yeah. Where else is it going?
Brunswick.
Oh, Brunswick. Well, obviously.
So we
Around
go.
at various places in Brunswick?
Yep, we go to Brunswick. We go to some of the schools. We go to the Pijupscott Terrace. We go to some of the senior living facilities in Brunswick. Yeah. So the goal of the bookmobile has always been to provide access and services to people who cannot get out as easily into the community and get to a library.
Can I interrupt with a
Yeah,
question?
that's why I'm here.
Do you have a sense of how many people are coming into the bookmobile when you're here in Harpswell?
Do I have a sense of it?
You're at 18, 24, 25.
Okay, I want,
Yeah.
which
It's on
page?
page 3.
We also, I asked
Literally
them,
halfway down.
yep,
Well, no, that's not just the bookmobile. Oh, that one, okay, got it. Why don't I have that?
Very specific, yeah.
Okay.
so I also have a thing that I can
Okay, wrong
share with you, a spreadsheet, which it actually lays out every single visit we made to Harpswell last year, and then I don't have the detail for this year, but I can get you that. So it tells you where we went, what we were doing there. So sometimes we're doing an event, sometimes we're doing a pop-up, which is just basically showing up and people come to use the bookmobile because they see it. So in 2025 through June, we had over 460 adults use the bookmobile. So far.
From anywhere,
Well,
or just Harpswell?
from Harpswell, I
Just
assume.
Harpswell,
Yeah.
sorry. Okay.
We had, and to that point probably, we had 818 checkouts
Nice.
on the bookmobile, just from Harpswell, because these are Harpswell stops. So you might have had some people stopping by who were visitors, but most of them were Harpswell people. So if we went.
But they have to have a card.
They have to have a card to check
So
out, yeah.
visitor had a card, they would be probably a non-resident
Well, they wouldn't be
taxpayer.
counted in this quote, in this
They wouldn't
summary.
be?
No. They would have their own card. It's a different kind of card.
I was under the impression that any non-resident taxpayer of Harpswell could get a Curtis card. I'm looking at Christie
I
now.
believe so.
Any
Any taxpayer.
Yes.
Any summer
sorry.
person.
So they
Yep.
might not be a resident,
They might be
but
here
they're a
for 6
taxpayer.
weeks and they could get a
Yes.
card, but they pay taxes.
If they pay taxes here,
Yeah.
they can.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it could be one of those.
Yeah, I would say that's a small percentage of the total, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Also, if you're looking for a new release, the
What?
the bookmobile bypasses the whole list.
Say that again?
The bookmobile bypasses the whole list. So if you're looking for a new release, it's a good place to look.
Oh,
Somebody who clearly has figured out the system. It actually
whole
is,
list, okay.
yeah. If
Okay.
you're a voracious reader, it's really nice because we put a whole lot of books on there that people who go to the library can't get their hands on. You can only get it through the bookmobile. So mystery
wait a minute,
readers.
we'll have to talk later. Okay.
Linda,
Yes, I'm sorry, Mackin.
could you just give us a perspective of the increase you're proposing here for Harpswell? How does that compare with the increase that you must be proposing for Brunswick?
Well, we're in a 6-month lag system with Brunswick, so I don't even go do the proposal there until January, February. And what I propose to Brunswick is usually very different from what I propose here because they carry most of the expenses of running the library. So this is something that is, I want library cards in the hands of any person who can get them. So I want Harpswell people to have access to this. In Brunswick, they pay for capital expenses, which
That I
peop-
understand.
right. So all of that is part of it. Last year, I did a 3% increase in Brunswick. I started at 5. They pushed it back to 3.
Okay,
So it depends on what I need to do in the library.
because you have us at 3.5 here.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you've also had the past 3 years with no increases,
Indeed.
and you don't support the capital expenses of the library.
Right.
So to me, it's a balancing act.
Yes.
And I'm always going through trying to figure out how does that balance out.
The other question I have is, how do you compete with our local libraries?
I
a
don't
way.
ever look at it as competing.
Do our local libraries feel you're competing with them?
They might feel like we're competing. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as I would like a library in every corner in every town and get rid of the Starbucks and put a library there instead. So my goal is to help all the libraries as much as I can. Sometimes there's a lot of interest for some of the services we provide, sometimes not so much. We're there to be a support system. It's not competition. It's good to have libraries.
I agree, totally.
Okay.
Going back to your first question, or Mackin's first question.
Yeah.
About the funding to Brunswick, would you expect it to stay, right now you're saying that Harpswell's paying 7% roughly of your entire budget.
17, no, oh, I'm sorry, yes.
7%.
Yes.
That were 7.7%,
Yep.
you said, around 8%.
Yeah.
And would you expect Brunswick to stay at then, when you present to them, at around 92% of the, no.
I don't
you
know. I can't answer that question. It completely depends on what the economic pressures are. Just here as much as in Brunswick, it's the same situation. One thing or two things that you've already heard from the other libraries. One is that utilities are going through the roof right now. That is part of the operational budget.
Sure.
So that one's killing us. And then the other one, which I'm sure everybody's figured out, is health insurance is going through the roof. Now, we're part of the state, it's the health trust, so it's less of an increase than many other organizations. But we already know for 2026, that'll be a 9% increase.
Yeah.
Huge.
No surprise.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. So those are some of the environmental factors we're facing. The thing that I think Curtis does extremely well, because we have a board that focuses on this, is we are fundraising constantly. And we do fundraising. We have an annual fund. We have an endowment that, if I can brag for 2 seconds, was less than $1 million 20 years ago, and now is over $8 million. So we've worked very hard to grow that. And all of the money from that comes back into supporting the library. So what I think happens is our fundraising, we also have a friends group that runs a used bookstore and are extraordinarily generous to the library because everything they raise comes back to the library. So that's kind of unusual. What all of that fundraising does is it pays for the excellence that our organization delivers to Harpswell and to Brunswick. So we are able to provide services that are like the bookmobile. It's a great example through fundraising. If we did not do fundraising, we couldn't do those things. So that's a path that the library board went down 20 years ago. And I think the result has been, which I also put on the budget application, we have had national organizations, the national news. We've been in the New York Times 3 times.
Yeah.
We have been on NBC News.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because we have staff that are producing these programs that are timely, relevant, and useful to everybody in our community, so sustainability being one of them. And that's what we've got a lot of recognition for. More questions? Come on.
Matt over here has a question. We'll let him.
Okay.
I get a couple. I didn't see your fundraising anywhere listed in your budget. How much do you fundraise, I guess, annually?
That's because that's an operational budget, and the fundraising does not go into the it does go into the operational budget, but only parts of it. We raise, it depends, but we raise an annual fund, which is about $200,000 a year. So that pays for a lot of the books, which, again, Harpswell doesn't pay for. So as we add to our collection, that's part of what goes into it. It pays for digital collections, which folks in Harpswell do use a lot. So the digital libraries is a good example. I believe in the part 2 of the budget, which is all the money that we fundraise that we spend on other expenses, is estimated about $400,000.
Did you have another question, Matt?
Yeah, I had a couple, actually. You want me to keep going? You want me to?
Keep going.
All right, Linda?
Go ahead.
Just based on the numbers I just looked at of library card usage, even at your high end there, the 1847, if all those people bought a library card, we would still be coming in under what you're asking for a budget.
No, we wouldn't.
I just did the math.
I did the math.
It's right here in front of us, too, on page 2.
I think when I did the math.
That was the old number.
Yeah.
Right.
We are going up.
The new number will be below it.
Yes, it will. And did you ask that question of Cundy's Harbor?
What do you mean?
71 active users in Cundy's Harbor, and they're asking for $40,000.
Yep. I'm also looking
Okay.
at Cundy's
Just-
Harbor's per.
Right. I'm just saying it's.
But I'm looking at the whole budget as a whole too, and Cundy's Harbor's expenses for labor and wages and stuff like that is far less than that of Curtis Memorial. Curtis Memorial is upwards of 75 to 80% of their budget is for personnel,
Okay.
whereas.
All right. Yeah, we should not get into this debate now. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just trying to
No,
figure
I'm
out
just-
where
So-
the taxpayers' money's going, and if we're better off just using some sort of fund for the residents
That
are
would be
using-
something we could discuss at a later meeting, I'd say. The Budget Committee, with you, of course.
When do I,
And we've discussed it in
So-
the past
am I
also.
not allowed to ask questions here?
You can ask questions, I think.
I think what I'm getting at is you're talking about what we would be deliberating.
Oh.
And
Sorry.
right now, we're just getting information from Liz.
Well, I guess my question is why is your wages and salary expenses so much higher than the other two libraries?
Because I have 44 people who work at the
Well, as a
library.
percentage of your operating budget, I guess.
It is totally within the guidelines as being appropriate. I would say, rather than looking at what we do is too much, what you would want to do is look at what the other libraries have and say, how can we give them more? Because I think one of you guys got up and said, we're not paying people enough. We have made it a consistent focus at Curtis Library to pay our staff living wages.
That is kind of, I'm trying to find places to pull money from, and that's one of the
So
reasons
you-
for the question.
So I guess
But you're not the budget committee, okay?
No.
Okay.
So the point I would just make is that we have always focused on paying people living wages, and that the 80% that you're talking about is seen as being a totally appropriate percentage within library spending. If you feel like that's not an appropriate place to spend money, that's a different
That's
conversation.
it, right, that would be.
No, I'm just looking at, in just how you're operating versus the libraries in town and stuff, and how the money's
And
being
this
used.
committee will talk about that, but not at this moment. So,
The other point I would make is that I think we have different types of libraries that we're talking about.
Right.
So just in sheer terms of size and services, they're different. One's not better, one's not worse, they're different.
they're different.
So that's part of the conversation I think that you all have.
We'll have, yes. And Dave has had his hand up.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave. Okay.
So I think you've alluded to it, but you haven't hit it directly, much to your credit, which is the composition of the funding that you get gives Harpswell tremendous amount of leverage that we don't pay for directly, whether that's the larger proportionate contribution that Brunswick makes, or it's the various fundraising activities or the endowment, income off of the endowment that you have.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you sort of shortcut it, there's a bit of a free lunch here for Harpswell. Having said that, we provide a lot of sort of cost absorption because our marginal costs to the library are probably significantly less than the budget here. To me, the leverage is the important point, and I think we get a lot of bang for the Harpswell buck out of our affiliation with Curtis Memorial. Having said that, the usage intensity, and the staff will laugh because I've been banging this drum for a couple of years. I would love to have a better metric, which you're saying really just for privacy concerns simply not available, as to what the usage intensity is for Harpswell. If I could wave a wand and get it, I'd like to see statistics that showed me how many books how many individual books are taken out by how many people, how intense is the online service utilization of Curtis Memorial. You do give us that with respect to the bookmobile,
Right.
which is great to see. If you were Facebook, you'd probably, even though it was unethical, you'd probably be able to give me those numbers. And I'm not suggesting you call Mark Zuckerberg.
We
and
are
ask
the
him to
last
do it.
bastion of privacy in the world, public libraries, I would say, and we're working hard to hold the line, but
But there's no better
Yeah,
metrics
no, I
that you can
understand.
give us that talk about utilization, because I'd hate to think, which I don't, that there are 1,847 active Harpswell card members since 2021, but each one's taken out, one book. We got
Yeah.
a definition from Harpswell that said an active user
the
from one
difference
library is at
Harpswell
least
serves
five.
Harpswell,
Oh,
so
I've
they
got
can
it.
do that.
I've got it.
Yeah.
And
There's just nothing like that available, or it's not worth tracking.
I have been looking for 20 years for that number because it would make my life a lot easier. But it really boils down to the issue of privacy. I think what you also have to keep in mind is exactly the point you brought up, that if you take the 7% of what you pay, are you getting more than that back? And you certainly are.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
By far and away, this
no
is such a
disagreement with that.
financial, I don't usually go at it that straight on, but it is such a financial benefit to Harpswell, the services and the benefits that you get versus what you pay. And so when I come back with a memo of the MOU proposal, I'm always trying to balance what is right for Curtis Library, what's fair to the town of Brunswick, which carries 90% of the cost of taking care of the library, but also I want people to have library cards, so how do I get them in people's hands? So it's like this constant balancing act you're going through. I have absolutely no question in my mind that the financial benefit that you get is huge.
Yeah, and I also think worth adding that no matter what you end up negotiating with Brunswick, that doesn't change these
No.
numbers very much. Because
It
if you're
doesn't.
talking about 2.5% versus 3.5%.
It doesn't.
The burden, the relative burden that the two communities bear is, it doesn't change the color of the picture
And
whatsoever.
the other thing I would bring up is that over 20 years, what I've also seen is a shift that when this does go to the vote at the town meeting, it used to be about a 60-40 percentage difference, 60 voting for supporting the library, 40 against. It's now up to 80-20, pretty consistently, I think, when you give me.
Until last
provided
year.
Some data.
Right.
We handed it out, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we have that
I
information.
think what that tells you is people
70/30.
see, and it's not that sheet, it's a different
No, we
one.
have it.
Okay.
Yeah,
She emailed it to us.
Okay, I didn't see it, but, okay, I believe it. You don't need to show.
right. So the percentage is much closer to a 20-80 percentage in support of Curtis Library and the resources that we provide. The other thing is keep in mind that what we provide is not, nowadays, I wish there was a better way of doing this, but it's not always encompassed by a library card. We have programming, and literally thousands of people come to our programs. They don't have to show a library card before they come in. And the other thing is we have programs for kids, same thing, so adults and kids. And we have all of our digital resources. This does not encompass the digital resources. So, yes, I came out of the business world and I love numbers too, and I love to know exactly what I'm talking about. In a nonprofit environment in libraries, they put a stake in the ground, particularly through a consortium. We don't share that, we don't have that information, so we can't share it,
That's fine, thank you.
which makes things easier.
Yeah, thank you.
I think the only way we might get that information is to do a survey like they did at Mitchell Field a year or two ago, and that would be,
I wouldn't go through the trouble. I
Right.
think,
It's
I think
not gonna
all the
be
information you
scientific.
presented.
you're not going to, you
is-
don't know how many you're going to
It's
get
not.
back or anything,
Yeah.
right? Like she said.
That wouldn't be a
Well, that's
science.
why
I think
I
this
always.
is all a proxy, essentially, for
Right.
what.
Oh, in a lot of
For
ways.
that kind of.
And so what I always go back to is the vote. If your community is voting to keep the library,
Yeah.
they're telling you
Here's your
something.
survey.
In Brunswick, it's a little bit different, but here, that it's a very direct connection to the vote. So,
Megan?
Have you considered, or perhaps, put aside doing, of literally soliciting every single taxpayer in Harpswell and sending them a library card and saying, this is who we are, why we're here, and here's your card, come use it?
we tell them we have the cards, they can sign up for the cards online, they can walk in the door and get the cards. I mean, you can lead a lot of horses to water, you can make about half of them drink. So, I mean, what you're talking about, a mailing to everybody, is expensive. I don't want to spend Harpswell's money doing that, I don't want to spend my money doing that. We do consistently do marketing that we do across both communities. I think every time the bookmobile goes out, it's a form of marketing, saying, ooh, there's Harpswell Library, there's our library, Curtis Library. But I think over the years, what I've come to the conclusion about is the people who want to use a library will find a library.
Agree.
And whether it's Curtis Library or Cundy's Harbor or, whichever one, I don't care as long as they're using the library.
It's a fair.
So we do a lot of social media marketing. We do a lot of very traditional marketing. I'm always astounded by how many people will turn to me and say, oh, I didn't know you did that. I'm like, we told you 4,000 times we did it.
We get what is it? Their e-newsletter.
We have an
Is it-
e-newsletter that goes out every week.
Yeah, I get it.
We have
I don't always read
constant
it,
stuff
sorry.
on the social media. If you have a great idea about marketing, I'm happy to hear it.
Well, one would be that, and, Christie could speak to this, but the town sends out mailings to everybody.
Yep.
make an arrangement with the town to include this appeal somehow. We are paying a lot of money to Curtis, and it would seem a natural sort of complementary thing. But
we
I don't
did
know whether
that.
that idea works or not.
I would guess that you might hear from all the other groups in town saying, hey, we want to do that. But I would just say that we have done that in Brunswick. And I did not see a giant rush to get library cards from that. We literally sent it out one year to all of the taxpayers in Brunswick. And it cost us an arm and a leg to do it because we had to pay for it. But what we do is every September, we focus very hard on getting library card signups because it's Library Card Month. And I think we tell that story across both communities.
Well, this is your
No,
horse,
I-
this is your horse to water analogy, which is absolutely correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
All right. Thank you.
yeah. Any other questions?
Oh, thank you for coming again.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. I'll gather up my 4,000 pieces of paper. Fortunately, you didn't ask about any of those things.
I assume, well, Liz, I have one more question quickly. I assume, sorry, just because Dan told us this number, or you can't really tell who's using the Wi-Fi in there either, can you? Or
You can tell Wi-Fi usage. What I would say is, I think you hit on the point, is I don't know how representative that number is anymore. We used to track it very carefully. I'm not sure that's a good tracking indicator, because a lot of the people that come through and use the Wi-Fi at Curtis are transient populations.
Yeah, I was thinking this, right, it's not necessarily the person from Harpswell who's coming in to get a book or a
No.
DVD or something, yeah, okay.
No.
I'm still stuck in the 80s.
But I am always open to any ideas about other ways of tracking stuff. We have really been working at that for years.
Yeah.
Going on generations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all libraries who came and spoke to us. And just a general statement, I personally think all libraries are important. Yeah. They offer education and culture to our town. And appreciate you all what you're doing. So. We're all done. You can leave. You're dismissed. Okay, so now I'm going to flip back to general culture.
Well, Mrs. Chairman, I wonder. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Dan, for coming. I wonder if you'd like to adjourn at this point. It is 5 minutes to 6. You've heard a lot of information to digest. We are meeting 2 times next week.
Okay, do we need to go over any special matters today?
Maybe just approval of the minutes, just so they can be fresh when I get them posted.
Okay.
And we didn't go over the accounts we did last, when you weren't here.
We're not going to do those today.
Next agenda.
We'll just put that on the next
So that's,
agenda.
that's
Right.
3.
Right.
It's looking like maybe next Thursday will be a consensus building meeting.
Okay.
So maybe you'll hear more, you're going to hear more items next Monday. But then I think consensus, we're just going to put on for next Thursday.
Okay.
That one will be recorded, right?
They all are. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so just to double check, we have a meeting Monday, the 8th, and again on the 11th, which is a Thursday.
Yes.
Next week,
Yes.
4
And,
o'clock.
and we can bypass the minutes too if
No,
you'd
we
like.
can do it right now.
Okay,
David,
okay,
get back here.
Okay.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
You weren't here.
Well, I can approve them.
So
I
moved.
read them.
You actually don't even have 3 of the members that were here.
Well, I was.
Yeah, I have.
Why don't we put those off as well?
We'll put those off, too.
I was here.
Yeah, but just you and Dave were, so you don't have 3 members.
Oh,
that
we don't
were
have
here.
3 members. Oh, yeah.
So would you like to adjourn, Linda, since there's a lot of talk still?
Linda.
Do you want to
Yeah,
adjourn?
go ahead.
So approved.
Okay, we are going to, nice to see you, Stephanie. I didn't recognize, okay. We are going to adjourn.